I get this question more often than not, and it's what music do I listen to when I'm evaluating audio products like speakers and amplifiers? Let's get to it. There's a process, a method to my madness when I am doing critical listening or really trying to get the most out of the products I review. And I can't do that using 128 kilobytes per second MP3s, as you may know. In the process of evaluating hi-fi audio equipment, the right track can truly highlight the strengths and expose any weaknesses in a component or speaker. My preference leans towards compositions that are masterfully recorded, capable of stirring emotions, and provided with complex elements. This selection framework allows for a comprehensive examination of various parameters, such as the depth of bass, temporal accuracy, overall sound tonality, discernibility of different instruments, and the nuances that often go unnoticed. The quality of the recording and production plays a significant role. A well-recorded piece of music provides a clean, clear audio landscape for testing. It's like testing a sports car on a smooth, open road instead of a potholed shithole. You'll be able to experience what the gear is truly capable of. Next, we should consider music that moves us, that stirs something within. Why? Because part of understanding the true potential of a piece of audio gear is knowing how well it can reproduce the emotion and nuance in a track. If a piece of music touches your soul, you're more likely to notice those subtle details that make all the difference. Now, let's talk about complexity. Tracks with complex arrangements, multiple instruments, and layered compositions can test a system's capability to handle various elements simultaneously. It's like a stress test for your audio gear. If it can handle a complex orchestral piece with grace and clarity, you know you're cooking with fire. Don't forget to mix it up. Using a variety of genres in your testing can reveal different aspects of your equipment's performance. A classical piece might show off your system's instrument separation, while a hip-hop track could really test that bass response. So keeping your testing playlist diverse is the way.
This is the way.
As I test my gear, there are certain characteristics I listen for. Now, some tracks really push the lower frequency response. Can your system reproduce those deep bass sounds without distortion or loss of detail? I also want to see how my system responds to fast changes in the music. Can it keep up with the rapid drum beats or quick tempo changes without missing a beat? Does the system reproduce the natural and correct tone of instruments and voices? Does a piano sound like a piano? Does a soprano sound like a soprano? In a complex piece, can my system separate and place individual instruments within the soundstage? Can I clearly identify where each sound is coming from? Finally, can my system reproduce tiny details and subtle nuances in the music? Those little details can make a big difference in our listening experience. Taking all of these characteristics and then focusing on the piece of gear I'm evaluating is how I determine whether or not it has made a difference in my system. Now, starting from a reference point is the best practice when conducting an evaluative listening session. I have to know my system so well that if there is any slight change in the characteristics I mentioned earlier, I can pick them out almost immediately. If I didn't know my system back to forward and left to right, it would be a complete shit show when trying to figure out what changed when I introduce a new amp or DAC or speakers. I know what you've all been anticipating, the big reveal, the specific music I use when scrutinizing audio quality. Let me set the stage for you. I've set up an intricate system that includes a music streamer, a CD player, and a turntable, allowing me to enjoy a wide array of music across various formats. This setup is incredibly advantageous as it exposes me to a broad spectrum of sound quality, aiding in a comprehensive evaluation of any changes within my audio system. Now, of course, the turntable doesn't come into play when I'm examining a CD player or a DAC, but rest assured, it has its moments of glory when its use aligns with the focus of the evaluation. This diversity in my setup ensures a well-rounded and thorough examination of the devices under test. Music tracks with a wide dynamic range, those with both quiet and roaring sections, offer an effective test of my system's prowess in managing these sharp transitions. Equally revealing are tracks featuring standout vocals. When vocals are in the spotlight, especially in isolation, they present a rigorous examination of my system's capacity to faithfully reproduce the human voice. Now, as for my personal favorites, there are a few tracks that I constantly find myself returning to. These are conveniently gathered in my Cool Buzz playlist. the link to which you'll find in the description below. Feel free to delve in and explore my eclectic taste in music. You might like it. As for CDs, I've handpicked a selection that showcases a robust dynamic range and a coherent mastering. These choices, I find, truly test the resolve of any high-fidelity audio equipment. CDs are a tough one because I do like a lot of music plagued by the loudness wars. I admit it. However, I had to restrain and use music that I felt would benefit the evaluation. I can enjoy my shitty music when I am at my leisure, but when it comes to brass tacks, when it comes to CDs, I do have a selection of favorites that just never disappoint. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon is a must for reasons that need no explanation. Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells makes the list because it resonates with me on a personal level and it sounds phenomenal, demonstrating a nice wide dynamic range. Stravinsky's The Song of the Nightingale, The Firebird Suite, and The Rite of Spring are phenomenal pieces that truly test the range of any audio system. Bow and a Drag by Morrissey is a nod to my formative years and provide beautiful vocals, and the Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack is my go-to choice when I want to experience that full might of bass. While I do mix in other tracks and other albums, these remain my steadfast companions for critical listening tests. Now, vinyl doesn't often feature in my evaluations. Its use is more the exception than the rule. However, rest assured, should the occasion call for it, I am more than equipped to bring vinyl into the testing mix. If you have any tracks or albums that you believe deserve a spot in my listening queue, don't hesitate to share them in the comments below. My quest for amazing music never ends, and your recommendations can enrich not only my evaluation sessions, but also my personal listening experience. So don't hold back, okay? Share your favorites generously, and let's discover the world of music together. If you got something from this episode, please feel free to celebrate with the like button. Yeah, bitch! Subscribe to the channel, share the video with all of your friends, and ring the bell to get notified every time a new video is born. With all that said and done, friends, I will see you on the next one. Take care.